So if we take 3.1 miles and we multiply it by the conversion factor of 1 kilometers per 0.6214 miles, this is going to make it bigger when you're dividing by less than 1. In fact, you get 4.99 or 5. Our population density increased from 2.5 to 3.3. Or in other words, it increased by 0.8 people per kilometer squared. If we multiply that by the land area of 100,250 kilometers squared, you get 80,200, which is the number of people. So we're using 900 inches of plastic wrap to bundle a group of boxes. So we take 1,500 feet, and we're going to multiply that by, for every foot, there's 12 inches. And then there's 900 inches for every group. And if you multiply that out, you get 20. So this part right here tells us that the combined amount of running and walking was 4 miles. If I multiply that by 1.6 kilometers per mile, I get 6.4. If I use these conversion factors, gallons per drum times quarts per gallon times batches per quarts, I'm left with batches per drum, which is what I want to know. This answer is 80. So if I take 12 pounds times 1 kilogram per 2.2046 pounds, I get 5.44, or B. So if I start with the number of miles per orbit and I multiply by the number of orbits per day and the days per hours, the unit I'm left with is miles per hour. And this gives me 66,210, which is closest to A. If I start with 320 million feet per second, and I convert this by 1 yard per feet, I still have to convert to minutes as well. So the feet are gone, the seconds, oh, I wrote those backwards, but I had the numbers right. The seconds are gone, and I'm left with yards per minute, which is what I want. 6,400. So if I multiply millibars per hour times millimeters of mercury per millibar, those cancel out, and I multiply this by 5 hours. My unit is millimeters of mercury. This gives me 12.75, which is closest to B. So my goal at the end is to have acres per 48 ounces. So that tells me that I should put ounces on bottom and fields on top. Then when I multiply by acres per fields, fields goes away. And then when I multiply by 48 ounces, ounces go away. I'm left with the number of acres. If I multiply this out, I have 448, which is closest to C. So if I start off with 40,000 kilometers per circumference, and I multiply by 1 circumference divided by pi times diameter, that's the ratio between the two, and then I multiply by 0.62137 miles per kilometer, I'm left with miles per diameter. And this answer is 7,917.5, or C. So if we look at Galaxy Q on the graph, the velocity is 500 kilometers per second, and we can multiply that by 1,000 meters per kilometer, and we're left with 500,000 meters per second. That's 5 zeros, so 5 times 10 to the 5th is another way of writing that. If we look at 9 feet and convert that to inches, and we divide that by 4, we figure out that our scale factor is 27. So if we take 12 and we multiply that by 12, we have 144 inches. And we're going to divide that by a scale factor 27 to work backwards. So we have 5.3 repeating inches. In other words, 16 thirds.